Iran fires missiles toward Diego Garcia in rare long-range strike. Okay, let's turn to Reddit and read some comments here. Let's organize by top. Iran targeted Diego Garcia base with ballistic missiles. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. Iran launched ballistic missiles at the Diego Garcia military base in the Indian Ocean, the Wall Street Journal reported on Friday. The report says one missile failed in flight and another was intercepted by a US SM-3 system, with neither striking the base. Diego Garcia, a key US-UK joint military hub in the Indian Ocean, hosts bombers, naval assets, and other long-range strike capabilities, according to Iran International. So this looks like it's happened pretty soon after the United Kingdom have given the United States permission to use their bases for striking targets that are basically attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz. So it looks like it's a sort of direct move from obviously the UK giving permission and them saying basically, okay, well, if that's what you're going to do, then we're going to start targeting your guys' joint bases as well. Whereas before, yes, they had attempted and they had actually struck a joint UK base in Cyprus. We are aware of that. But now this is quite a significant escalation by Iran on a UK-US joint military base. So yeah, let's just go through some of these comments again and just see what they have to say. Just to put it into perspective, London is closer to Iran than Diego Garcia is. Distance from Iran to London, 3,650 kilometers. Distance from Iran to Diego Garcia, 3,800 kilometers. This is a really important comment because it puts the strike into perspective, all right? So let's just say Iran were really after the UK, okay? Let's just say they wanted to strike the UK. Their missiles could reach London from where they are right now, which is incredible. You know what I mean? That's absolutely insane to think about. So instead of them targeting London, they targeted the UK-US joint base. There could be a couple of reasons for this. I'm not going to. I'll go into one of the reasons why I think they probably did this. It's a safer target because let's just say one of the missiles on its way to London falls down, fails, gets intercepted. That would be over Europe. That would probably be over, let's just say, Turkey or over a NATO country. That could be extremely damaging. That could be extremely bad, and that could draw in other players that they are not interested in drawing in right now. Whereas if you target Diego Garcia, it's over the ocean. So if you fail, the missile can hit the water. The missile can get intercepted by the various assets that are around that area. And yeah, it's obviously not targeting a civilian population then. Whereas if you target London, that's really just trying to hurt the civilians of the United Kingdom. So yeah, they're sticking with their military targets. They're also choosing wisely, from the looks of it, which military targets to select. Anyway, let's keep up with the comments. That's surprising. Yeah, I think a lot of people haven't really. Well, I mean, that's not really common knowledge, is it? I mean, this was news to me. I don't think many people at all on Reddit or not on Reddit would be aware of that fact. Maybe it'll put a little bit of fear into some UK residents that Iranian missiles could reach us if they wanted to, but it seems like they don't want to. So that's another thing to remember. Remember that ranges will vary with direction of travel. West to east deliver a greater range than firing east to west or any other vector that involves travel to the west, which a shot at London would involve. This is due to the delta V boost that a missile gets when traveling east. If fired west, it needs to catch up to Earth's rotation, requiring more delta V. This is why most orbital boosters track in the easterly direction, depending on the desired inclination of the orbit. Polar orbits don't get the delta V penalty or benefit. Edit, I am wrong. This line of thought certainly applies to orbital launches, but not for suborbital. There are confounding effects that affect targeting and guidance, but in terms of range, it is symmetrical east versus west. One of my lines of thought experiment was blah, 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 blah. Okay, any further examination showed that this is not a bad analogy, although using the proper frame of reference, noting or inertial frame presents it a bit differently. Using the Earth rotation as a boost is also one of the reasons nations like to launch to space from as close to the equator as possible. The further north or south the launch site is, the less advantage you get from the Earth's rotation when launching west to east. Okay, let's keep scrolling. I had to fact check this since it sounded crazy, and it's true. Fuck me, that's a scary thought. It is indeed. I'm guessing that's the point. Yeah, it probably is. And you know what's more interesting is I thought that America had and Israel had decimated Iran's missiles and their capabilities. Well, apparently not. If they've still got launchers and missiles that can reach that far, what does that tell you? Either America and Israel are lying, or Iran have got some serious stockpiles. Both could be true. Let's just be honest there. Both could definitely be true, but I really don't believe that their missiles are depleted or that their systems are all destroyed. I seriously don't believe that. And yeah, and if they've got the balls to be able to shoot at Diego Garcia, then that just says that they're not done, that they haven't lost. The war isn't over. Well, that and the fact that a missile at Diego Garcia will only hit military targets, and if it misses, it crashes into the ocean. It's kind of a shot across the bow threat. The range is made clear without actually firing at any civilian population centers. Yeah, it's kind of what I said earlier, just summed up neatly. Kind of. Diego Garcia does have a civilian population. It's small, but it's there. It serves as a staging ground for some pretty buff military vessels. Also, it makes Hawaii look like Missouri. I don't know if you're insulting Hawaii or Diego Garcia. Diego Garcia is a little secret island paradise, white sand, beaches, peace and quiet, friendly people. How people view Hawaii as tropical gateway, Diego Garcia is what they really imagine. And because it's pretty much close to non-military, with few exceptions, you can have huge stretches of beach all to yourself. Sounds lovely. It sounds lovely if there's not a war going on, right? I mean, you could just be lying on that beach and then, staring up the sun and the sand around you, and then all of a sudden you hear a missile or you see a missile overhead, and yeah, that's gonna really ruin the experience. So here's a good tracker of Iran's ballistic missile program. There's a link there. I'm not going to click on that. Iran's MRBM with the longest range is the, I don't think I'm going to pronounce this correct, Khorramshahr series with the publicly known range of 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers. However, the range could theoretically be stretched with modifications and payload adjustments. Diego Garcia is 3,500 to 4,000 kilometers away. Iran was developing a rocket to put satellites into orbit. That kind of thrust could also be used to increase range. Interesting. If they're having trouble hitting Diego Garcia, that doesn't make them a military threat to the US mainland. The thing is, everyone knew this before Operation Epstein Fury. If Iran bombs our allies in Europe, like they did with our allies in the Middle East, because we started a war with Iran that no one agreed to, that is at least as bad as Iran bombing the US, because they didn't even agree to the war. True. I mean, we didn't even know about it. We weren't even given a heads up. And Israel decided to start it. America decided to follow. And the rest of us are just kind of scratching our heads going, what are you doing? But if there's blowback onto us, well, that's going to be a pain point, isn't it? That's going to be a real problem for everybody. Apologies about my dog barking there. He is not happy about the situation either. This suggests that Iran possesses missiles with a range of about 4,000 kilometers, which is further than what has been publicly stated. Yeah, I don't think that they're publicly going to announce their full capabilities and all of their, top of the range arsenal. I don't think they're just going to put targets on their back like that. And from an intelligence point of view, it's not smart, is it? The President of the United States is currently on record as saying they have no missiles left at all. Multiple times, in fact. Yeah, no, they were completely obliterated. Multiple times, and the war was very complete. I remember that. Seems odd that Iran would be firing missiles more advanced than anybody thought possible if that were true. Edit. Today I learned that no missiles means more missiles than anybody expected, and that obliterated is a synonym for inconvenienced momentarily. Nah, must be fake news. The same president who simultaneously has said he won the war. The war is over. He is currently winning the war. He needs help winning the war. He doesn't need help winning the war. And they aren't at war at all over a nuclear program he obliterated last year. That president doesn't seem like him. Trump. Iran has no missiles left equals Iran has several years of missiles left. Yeah. There's a reason the most powerful military in the world hasn't tried to get a tanker through the Hormuz Strait. My dumbass thought Iran fired missiles toward one person named Diego Garcia. Yeah, fuck that guy, right? He must have really pissed them off. We need a bit of light-hearted comment in these serious times. I'm not the least bit surprised they would lie about the true range of their missiles. If this turns out to be true, then London, Madrid, Berlin, Warsaw, Kiev, and New Delhi are all in strike range. Something tells me this is exactly the conclusion they want people to draw, and that actually hitting Diego Garcia asset was a nice to have, but not really the objective. Hitting American bases in Europe would have massive impacts on the public perception of the conflict. Yeah, especially after you keep telling people the war is over and the war is won and all of that kind of stuff, then yeah, when you think that the war is over and then the next minute you see a missile coming towards you, you're going to be like, but I thought it was over. So the US is right about Iran's missile capability and intentions. Or did Iran get a hold of a Russian or Chinese system recently for conventional use? That's a scary thought. But I mean, allies help allies, right? Combined with the fact that their short intermediate missile launches have declined steeply, this looks to me like they're wheeling out some of the things they aren't quite ready. The fact that one failed could indicate that they haven't thoroughly tested it. Almost all Iranian weapons have been reverse engineered from other systems. Okay, let's read a few more top comments and then we'll switch it up a bit. I was reading the wiki for Diego Garcia and this stuck out to me. Following the fall of the Shah of Iran and the Iran hostage crisis in 1979 to 1980, the West became concerned with ensuring the flow of oil from the Persian Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz, and the United States received permission for a $400 million expansion of the military facilities on Diego Garcia, consisting of 2 parallel 12,000-foot-long runways, expansive parking aprons for heavy bombers, 20 new anchorages in the location, a deep-water pier, port facilities, and the largest naval vessels in the US and British fleets, aircraft hangars, maintenance buildings, and an air terminal, a 1.34 million barrels fuel storage use, and billeting and messing facilities for thousands of sailors and support personnel. Seems a bit symbolic as well after reading that. Okay. So this means that Iran could make a nuclear dirty bomb, even if it doesn't have a fission weapon, pop it on a missile and Europe would be in range. I mean, yeah, but that's also national suicide. If they drop a dirty bomb in London or Paris, they're getting nuked, and no one in the world is retaliating on that behalf. I don't want to speculate about dirty bombs and nuclear weapons. I seriously hope we never in our lives have to experience anything like that. That would be That would be a game changer, and that would really turn things on its head, especially for things like the Ukraine war, because I have a feeling that if, let's just say, Iran used a dirty bomb and Israel or America decided to strike back with a tactical nuke, or even anything more powerful than that, I fear that that would give Putin permission to use tactical nukes in Ukraine. And I don't know. I mean, let's hope that we never have to ponder those realities, because yeah, those are end times. Right. Let's have a look at some controversial comments. We love those. Quite a severe step up if they believe their missiles can reach excuse me, if their missiles can reach 4,000 kilometers. Far greater danger for Europe to get involved at all. EU nations need to tell any fat pedophiles fight their own battles. I think we have been saying that, haven't we? We've been sending thoughts and prayers for this war. We've now allowed them to use our joint bases, which has now resulted in them being targets, which sucks. But yeah, if they started it, they need to finish it. Let's just underline that point. You think these insane people wouldn't attack Europe if left to their own devices? Far greater danger for Europe to not intervene, my God. Iran didn't start the war. IRGC has a very punchable face, though. Yeah, I mean, where do we even start with these? So, one, Iran isn't going to attack Europe. Okay? Not going to happen at all. We're not targets, although, like I said, with us opening up the joint bases for strikes, that puts a question mark over that. But I at the moment, I don't think so. Iran didn't start the war. Correct. Israel started the war and dragged America into it, and now America is wanting to drag NATO into it. So that's that point. The IRGC has a very punchable face, though. I guess I'm not going to argue with that. And I'm coming straight from the point of view that when you kill protesters in the tens of thousands, then that puts a target on your face and makes it very punchable. Okay. At first, I thought you were talking about Greenland, right? Let's not even bring that place up right now. I mean, God forbid Trump remembers Greenland. He's probably forgotten. Dementia's probably kicked in there, so that's a good thing. The EU isn't scared of Iran's military capabilities. No, we are not. We might be surprised at their missile ranges, but we're not scared. Don't forget, we are fairly powerful. Okay? So compared to Iran, we don't need to be scared, but we also don't want to give them a reason for them to attack us either. Losing even a seagull on behalf of Trump's big pedophilia distraction is too much. Less about fear, more about annoyance than this ever happening. Poor seagulls. Right, shall we open up some of these hidden comments? It's almost like Iran is smarter and more advanced than our Secretary of Defense, who is drunk and former Fox News host. I mean, a lot of this sentence is actually accurate. So, after I've read the entire article, it can only mean one thing. The United States of America and Israel have grossly underestimated the Islamic Republic of Iran's ballistic missile capabilities. It means that a good part of the Balkan Peninsula might be in range of Iran's ballistic missiles. United States of America, with the leadership of Donald Trump and as an American administration of liars and madmen, have screwed up big time. Thank you for nothing, Donald Trump, sincerely a Serbian citizen. Not sure about the downvotes, but I agree with a majority of that. That's funny. I thought Trump said they were obliterated and had nothing left. It's probably best to not believe a single thing that comes out of Trump's mouth. And I'm being straight here. Whenever he opens his mouth and says something, it's either projection or it's just a straight up lie. Okay? That is a statement. I don't expect Iran to back down, neither do I expect the general American understands the can of worms they have opened. World War III is looming thanks to pedophiles in the White House. I hope not. You see a lot of World War III rhetoric on Reddit, especially in the comment section. They love to bring it up. They love to say that it's here or it's coming or it's on the way, whatever. But at the moment, it's not here, and I don't think it's accurate to bring it up. How do posts like this even get 37 upvotes? Right, not getting into that. Didn't Iran had been wiped out of having capabilities like this? Based on what Trump said, felt like anyone got baited so hard at this point. 2,500 miles, wow. Right. One missile failed and the other intercepted. There is no indication they were capable of hitting Diego Garcia, just that they were shot in that direction. I guess that's a fair point. But we also don't know where they were intercepted. It could have been closer to the island than we would like. This seems like escalation. I don't agree that it is escalation. Well, it's partly escalation, and I also believe, like I've said before, that it's partly in a response to Keir Starmer allowing the Americans to use joint bases for strikes. So yeah. Okay. Iran fires missile toward Crab Nebula. Missile fails in atmosphere. Yeah, not quite though. Iran isn't an imminent threat. Iran isn't building long-range ballistic missiles. Iran isn't building nukes. I have a feeling US intelligence knows more than the random idiots on Reddit, and also knows more than they're letting on. The government told me we destroyed all the missile capabilities and we obliterated them. Clown face. Yeah, indeed. Clown face indeed. Well, if Trump decimated 90% of their launchers, then they must have had thousands, because it seems they still have plenty left. Or Trump lied to try and appease the cult. Good comments. I think we'll leave it there.